All right, hey guys. So we're gonna start with dividing fractions. So the Khan Academy does a pretty good job of explaining to you guys how to do division of the fractions. I wanted to kind of elaborate on that a little bit. So let's take 4/3 divided by 2/3. Okay, so in the way the video is showing you is they do a number line and they break it into thirds. All right, so let's say we have 4/3. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4/3. And you're going to take those 4/3 and divide it by 2/3. So there's 1, 2/3. So really what that ends up is 2 whole jumps, right? And then they go in to show you how to do that with the reciprocal. So they take 4/3 times the reciprocal, and the reciprocal is just the fraction inverted. So the 3 would now be your numerator, and the 2 would be your denominator. So 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 2 is 6, 12 over 6 is 2. So really what we're looking at here is if we had 4/3 or 4 jumps, and then we're going to divide them into groups of 2/3, we're taking them and putting them into 2 groups. So that's no different than saying if we had 4 of something and dividing it into 2 groups. Okay? Pretty simple when we're dealing with the same denominator. Okay? So let's look at a little bit different problem. Let's look at 3/2 divided by 1/4. Okay, same thing. Okay, so we have 3/2, so there's 1, 2, 3. Dividing it into 1/4. Now this is a little bit different. It's a little bit trickier because they're different denominators. So we can't really just go, oh, here's 1/4. That it doesn't work the same way. So we have to look at this problem a little bit differently. And instead of messing with the number line, instead of messing with any of the graphics, let's just flip it, multiply by the reciprocal. So it'd be 3/2 times 4/1. So we got 3 times 4, which is 12. 2 times 1, which is 2. 12 over 2 is 6. Okay. So is the number line always going to be the best option for you? And the answer is no. Drawing graphics isn't always going to be the best option for you. Let's see what this would look like. Let's see. Even just drawing a picture. No, let me erase it. Last part. All right, so there's our 3/2. If we're going to divide it into 1/4, so we divide each piece. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. We would divide each piece into fourths. So then how many fourths do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 of those pieces. So if we were to take the 3 halves and divide it into 1/4, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's look at another example of this. So let's look at 2/5 divided by 7/3. Okay, so we just go ahead and look at the way we've previously talked about. Just reciprocate 2/5 times 3/7. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 7 is 35. It's going to get a little trickier doing our graphics. So when it comes to it, once we completely understand how to do this problem, do we even need the graphics? Do they even become beneficial? Do they even become helpful? For a problem like this, the answer is no. They don't become helpful. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at 3/4. Divided by. Let's do 5/9. Okay, if I draw out a number line or a fraction bar of 3/5, is even going to be feasible to divide that into 5/9. It's just easier to look at this, take the reciprocal, multiply. So now you take 3 times 9, which is 27, 4 times 5, which is 20. Okay, so that ends up being 1 and 7/20. That's going to be impossible to do on a number line or to figure out with a fraction bar. So once we can kind of figure out how this is going to work, it's easier just to take the reciprocal of the problem and multiply. Okay? So we'll do a few of these problems throughout the week during our number talks, but again, I encourage you to watch the Khan Academy videos. They're great videos, and they start out with the number line. I go into a little bit more detail with the the fraction bar, but they do a great job of showing you with the number line and then going in and explaining the reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal, all it is the fraction flipped over. What was the denominator becomes your numerator. What was the numerator becomes your denominator, then you multiply. And we multiplied just like we normally would with any regular fraction. That 9 was kind of bothering me. Let me fix that. But again, guys, it's very easy. If you're dividing fractions, flip the fraction that you're dividing by, multiply, and then reduce your fraction. Reducing the fraction is going to be key to getting the correct answer. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me any messages and let me know. I'll be available every morning from 9 to 9:30, every morning in our live chats from 11:30 to 12. Also, I'm always available via email, Google Classroom messages, or in the in the Google Hangouts. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send me a message.